You know, the great thing about living right now, there's always something to talk about going on in our world. Listen, you've got to hear, maybe you've heard a little bit about this. You know, one thing I've figured out is a lot of you're not watching anything. You're not watching the news. You're not reading. You didn't know anything about Hunter Biden. I'm glad you're watching this program. So if you're watching this, you've got a duty, and your duty is to share it. Share it on Facebook, share the Victory Channel, share it on whatever you got. If you're still on Twitter, share it there. Every place, every social media, because we need to get this word out that we're here and Flashpoint's here, all right? But this week, there was something that caught my ear, and I'm going to play this clip, when I heard God's will is of no concern in this Congress.
In his wisdom, God intentionally made each individual uniquely either male or female. When men or women claim to be able to choose their own sexual identity, they are making a statement that God did not know what he was doing when he created them. I'm going to quote directly from Dr. Tony Evans' commentary Bible on this passage of Scripture. Men and women equally share in bearing the image of God, but he has designed them to be distinct from and complementary toward one another. The gender confusion that exists in our culture today is a clear rejection of God's good design. Whenever a nation's laws no longer reflect the standards of God, that nation is in rebellion against him and will inevitably bear the consequences. And I think we are seeing the consequences of rejecting God here in our country today. And this bill speaks directly against what is laid out in Scripture. Our government, through this bill, is going to redefine what a woman is and what a man is. It can be anyone who identifies in that gender.
Mr. Stubbe, what any religious tradition ascribes as God's will is no concern of this Congress.
Okay, I know you were listening. I'm going to play that last part again just because you need to hear it. Watch.
Mr. Stubbe, what any religious tradition ascribes as God's will is no concern of this Congress.
Now, what Representative Nadler said right there, I understand what he's trying to say. Let's don't get hung up in all this stuff. But I'm telling you, when you start saying things, Hank, like God's will is of no concern, or what religious institutions' view of God's will or no concern in this Congress, wow, that's scary ground to be on, isn't it?
It's very, because blessed is the nation who the Lord is their God.